right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Edge destroying here, nearly going for the 1000 DPM right there with the Azir, the savior of this squad between the Wombo combo, having the damage to completely ace the ROX Tigers, and then that insane hold off there at the end, get the defense, charge down the mid lane, and finish the game. Absolutely crazy. Fully expect him to get the MVP.
8 neutrals to 0. The Barons and the Dragons by the end of the game meant almost nothing because team composition-wise, Azir hits his item spikes, and again we have to be hit over the head with it. That is enough for a team to win a late game team fight. Eventually the Varus and the Talia were outclassed, but not in a way we could ever have seen coming. And like you say, you have to give all the credit to Edge in this particular game. Hasn't had the best series so far, but it really warmed up as game 2 went on. Made it done on the Azir. Now we might actually have to see an Azir ban by the ROX Tigers as we move to game number 3.
He's going to go ahead and join the likes of his teammate Ray's Ambition and Depth, who all currently have 2 MVP nods to their name. Go ahead, take a look at this. I mean, it was really rough throughout the beginning of this game. ROX Tigers pretty much having control throughout the entirety of this, getting, as you say, 8 different objectives aside from the turrets, but it just came down to those key crucial moments with the Wombo combo and with the damage output from this Azir that really allowed KONGDOO Monster to tie up the series.
I mean, faith in the process is a sports meme, but I think that was just faith in the scaling here by KONGDOO Monster. It got to the point where this fight happened and Edge had the best play of the series so far, holding in the back and then all the way to the front, and Azir sec onto an entire team. It's madness from the side of Edge, and that wasn't even his biggest contribution of the game.
No, it really wasn't. It was right here at the end, bamboozling me and making me a bit of a believer here in the Azir, in Edge as a player, as they managed to hold this off even with the GA. Getting popped back up there for Lindarang, just doesn't have enough damage to finish it out, and from there, they go straight down the mid lane, and here we are now, Papa Smith. We're going into game 3.
I mean, Edge is basically an 80s movie star at the end. Come on, bad guys. 3 waves of Baroned up super minions, multiple carries. No one strong enough to best the Azir. Like you say, not going to be any more substitutions or changes. We're getting what feels like a bonus game, a game 3 no one saw coming between ROX Tigers and KONGDOO Monster. I'm so excited to see the draft, and the only thing I know for sure is maybe moving away from 2 immobile carries and leaving open to Zac is perhaps a smart way to go for ROX Tigers.
Yeah, that and maybe even just taking the Azir away for the ROX Tigers, banning that out so Edge can't get it, might be the play. But for now, still going to be focusing on Edge, not with the Azir, but with the Zoe that we've seen banned away in both of our previous games.
A lot of mid lane focus if you're joining us late in this particular series, especially in game 1 where we had no AD carries banned. There was a couple of AD carry bans in game 2. Where ROX's priority goes, maybe they'll just be taking the Azir, even though Kuzan is more of their Azir player than Lava necessarily. In fact, KONGDOO will say no one gets Azir.
Okay.
Ban that one away. See if ROX stick with their plan from the first game of the series. They banned Shen in that particular place, but it's more the lack of AD carry bans, more so than the specific Shen ban.
Second time KONGDOO is self-banned themselves versus the J4 in the last game. Now with the Azir, just not letting anyone have that fun, as the Malzahar will be the final ban. So just full mid lane priority with, you know, that 5% chance at it being top lane Rise. But yeah, focusing out Edge, they want to cripple him as much as possible.
Mid lane champion ball shattered. The 4 big picks around the world. Not much Zoe in Korea, but Zoe is part of the big 4 around the world. Taken away, and the Galio, which is the ROX special, is denied. So how about another special for the ROX Tigers? How about going into Sangyoon's Kalista? His solo queue record on this pick last year was insane. Above 80% win rate over 100 games. Has been one of his power picks, but now it feels like both teams got their pick of the poison when it comes to the AD carries, and Raze gets the Jarvan that's been taken away from him in game 2.
Okay, so J4 are going to be coming through. We get a rematch of the ADCs from game 1 with the Kalista and the Kog'Maw coming back out. And it wasn't really Sangyoon being the one carrying the team to victory. He was there in the background. The Fates calls helped set up a couple of plays there that did lead to key picks. But it really was Lava with the Corki ending up getting that pentakill in the end that was blowing up people left and right. Really allowed for ROX to go ahead and pick up the win. And a change of pace. We'll actually see the Kha'Zix coming through.
And a Seonghwan special. He looked great on this against SK Telecom T1, so they can also pick a winning matchup in top lane to repeat Lindarang and Seonghwan diving through as Flex pick Vladimir on blue side is a selection for ROX. Lava had some of this in his match history, so definitely could be a mid lane Vlad. Almost was enough to carry SK Telecom to win the third game of the Telecom War, but also definitely the possibility of a top lane Vlad. Sort of situation where you don't need to ban away the gangplank because you're able to run over that pick as Vladimir, but you don't run over Gnar, so now the headaches do start to begin for ROX Tigers.
Might have to try to flex that one into the mid lane. In which case, maybe you kind of wish that you had Kuzan playing for you.
I think the plan here from KONGDOO would be to get the highest tier support pick they can get. Right now, no supports have been banned, and now the Flex Shen ban. So Braum, of course, seems to be the S+ tier in Korea. Tahm Kench is up there as well, so both teams will swap bans. ROX Tigers have a lower premium on banning the first round, or like the highest priority of tank supports, because you can be more flexible with a Kalista, can run other supports that are too risky to run in other lanes, whereas KONGDOO just wants someone tanky to stand next to the Kog'Maw and help him out.
Well, the Alistar is still going to be banned away there by Kog'Maw.
Tahm Kench will be selected by KONGDOO, even if it doesn't do that well against Vladimir or even against the Kalista. But is the best friend of a Kog'Maw, so still seems likely. Taric also very high in priority at this juncture in a draft. And he's going to be banned, so running out of teamfight tankiness to add to the side of KONGDOO. Only the single target disengage. And I think ROX Tigers will like this. They definitely knew that Tahm Kench would be selected. It seemed obvious. But given the sort of composition ROX is going for with Vladimir and now Kalista, it does feel like perhaps the value of Tahm Kench will be lower than in other games.
Final picks getting ready to come through. Looking for a potential top laner here for the ROX Tigers. Unless they want to run... Okay, never mind. I won't even finish my sentence. We're just going to see the Kennen get locked in.
Yeah, it's going to be Kennen into Gnar. It's a winning matchup for Kennen, and it'll be Vladimir mid lane. Will be the lane assignment here.
Unless it's support Kennen.
I mean, it's not impossible, you should say. Was a favorite in Korea before, but seems unlikely because of how the Gnar matchup in particular goes.
Okay, Karma, maybe. Just going back to a little bit of poke here to go along with the Kalista, as well as just keeping her sped up with the shields.
Bit of a strange one.
Yeah.
It's basically saying we want to win laning phase really hard in bot lane, because in team fights, the extra shooting movement speed is always nice, but doesn't necessarily push them over the edge. This is what KONGDOO Monster are running, so Karma for laning phase is the choice. Speaking of laning phase choice, it'd be pretty crazy to see the return of Anivia. Been a long time since we've seen this pick, but it was famously picked to Vladimir many times in the past. Are they going to go with it? The answer is no.
Okay.
Don't have the confidence to stick on that Anivia that I was always a bit skeptical of. I'm not sure it actually smashed Vladimir. I think that was just FLICKR going crazy on Anivia at the time. It's going to be the Orianna, which is not being a popular pick, but is a popular pick for Edge in particular. A lot of initiation options here for KONGDOO Monster. But I look at the side of ROX Tigers and I see two lanes that are picked to win lane. Bot lane and top lane heavily picked to win lane. And a Kha'Zix. It seems very clear to me that ROX Tigers do not want to repeat of the previous game. Do not want to allow the game to go to the shenanigans of 40-minute team fights. They want to get it done early.
All right, well, we'll see if they can pull that off. Maybe the Anivia was, a bit of a homage over to Froggen, who I do believe is actually currently practicing here in Korea.
A lot of things just happened there that we should touch on. We were wrong on our estimations. At 16 seconds, it said that we would have a mid lane Karma, a top lane Vladimir, and a support Kennen. We'll wait to get the official confirmation of that.
We're just getting bamboozled all over the place, and yeah, you're right. The flip's going to come through.
Let's talk about what this means. Vladimir against the Gnar is fine, but it's not a winning matchup, like if they had chosen to go for the Kennen. There is some other adjustments around the rim, so the jungle remains the same, obviously. We go into mid lane, just a farm fest here. This might have just been a pivot at the end because of the Orianna lock-in, but it does mean there's going to be a safe laning phase. It's still a bully laning phase in bot lane. So the change is that top lane loses a bit of its power, but bot lane gains a lot of power. And now we're probably going to think the jungle will spend more time bot lane than perhaps before.
All right, the last second swap. Thanks for the catch up there, Papa Smithy. We'll see. We now know what to expect from this ROX Tigers lineup. Let's see if they can pull it off. Let's see if they can get it done, or if KONGDOO Monster can go ahead and reverse this best of 3, take away the win. Let's go ahead, load onto the Rift, and see what happens.
소환사의 흑대가 오신 것을 환영합니다.
All right, KONGDOO Monster fans finding their voices stabilized, I guess, this time as we go into game number 3.
Edge feeling the pain of level 1 Karma. We've all been there, bot laners, mid laners alike, even junglers and top laners for a moment. Karma, one of those picks, has been played in 4 roles at the competitive level.
Unfortunately, I can't tell you what that sign says, but it seems like it was funny because I heard some laughs from the audience.
Throughout the Snickers, for sure. Looking into this game, we're a bit surprised by the last-second changes in the lineup. Seemed obvious that it will be Kennen into Gnar, but moving away what is a very good matchup for the Kennen. Really trying to double down on winning bot lane. And when it's Sangyoon and when it's ROX Tigers, who very often default to playing around Sangyoon, reinforcing the power of the bot lane seems to be the decision. One of the reasons they may have decided this is that support Kennen actually does a pretty good job against Tahm Kench. It takes so much time for his damage to arm. It's usually after the Tahm Kench has kind of gone through the Devour chain. You know, if you start the ult, say, 2 seconds into Devour, it will be hitting the back end onto both targets, doing very respectable damage. Double range also to penalize the lane is mid lane.
Yeah, Raze is just going to be working his way in here. Edge pretty low, still going to get the flag and drag there. And no one else going to pursue.
You don't often see flash into EQ, but we did see it there. Still was able to register, but level 1 Orianna isn't going to be too threatening and had taken cleanse, so I like Raze just wanted to be an alpha and traded flashes with the mid laners. That's probably still fine.
Yeah, still going to be a step in the right direction. It was just really odd to see the flash EQ and then just walk away from everything else. So, an interesting play. But maybe Raze, that's exactly what he wanted to get done, and he was satisfied, so he went ahead and walked away, perhaps.
This matchup, if we see Gnar go what has been the build we've seen 2 out of 2 times, which is the Spectre's Cowl into the Black Cleaver, you can win lane, as OGN seems fascinated by this. It was not EQ Flash for once, it was Flash EQ.
He thought he jumped the wall. They didn't go into the bush!
Thanks for that one, OGN. That's hilarious.
That is actually amazing. That is the best thing that I've seen. The base defense be damned, that is the best thing that I've actually seen today.
That's what we call a next level.
Holy hell. I thought Raze just really didn't care after he got the flash.
It's a funny old game sometimes, League of Legends. Stop snickering at killers. Anything could happen. Frogs could die. They died.
You're not allowed to mention that. We're not sponsored by that certain candy bar.
Snickers?
Yeah.
I'm open for a Snickers sponsorship.
That would be nice, you know.
This is not nice for Roach, though.
Goes nice with chicken. BBQ there, but yeah, he's going to have to flash away. Hops back in, doesn't get the double bounce, and he's just going to get taken down. Seonghwan coming up with that first blood, and Roach has been put on the pain train.
That was really nicely done by Lindarang, who denied the bounce from the hop by just using his W and being untargetable. He had used it on the champ, he didn't use it on a minion. Means he didn't have a way to get away, and it is first blood in a tricky matchup for Vladimir. Very nicely executed by ROX Tigers.
Well, rough start there for the Gnar. Maybe making a second pass at it here. Into the mid lane is Raze. He's got the red bump. No flashes available. Flag and drag this time. Not going to connect, and he's just going to walk away yet again.
Does get further lane control to Edge. Like you say, this time there was no crafty vision juking for Lava to get through. Try to ignore all the shenanigans in mid lane. We get to look at bot lane, where it's another one of these unsealed spellbook AD carries you wouldn't expect in the Kog'Maw. Haven't seen him teleport back to lane yet, but might be Targons and something on the way to Rageblade soon. SSol wants to go that route.
Maybe another visit here to the top lane for Seonghwan. He's taking the Scuttle Crab first, but No River Ward yet here for Roach, and he doesn't have one available. So it'd be quite susceptible to a gank. Seonghwan will go ahead and spot Edge.
Yeah, it's going to be happy to play an extended laning phase. Plan here from ROX Tigers is to trade upon what is a big lead at 2 items. It feels like at 2 items with the Karma, the extra overshield, to be able to rush down and get the Ren sets and win. With the Kalista, 1 item, KONGDOO Monster pretty strong actually with just a Rage Blade, but can be kited away because of the extra movement speed that specifically the mid laner provides. So depending on when skirmishes start, 1 or 2 items, the victor can actually swing pretty dramatically. While they've picked for lane, you'll notice that with Unsealed Spellbook and the ability to teleport back, if he ever needs it to, and hasn't needed to so far, not been any real CS advantage gained by the Kalista Kennen.
Yeah, I mean, the hold on the wave there wasn't great by Key and Sangyoon. There's a lot of those minions under turret, so it seems like the CSing has been just a little bit off. Maybe he's not that well practiced on the Kalista right now because he hasn't been able to get his hands on it as of late.
Kind of weird to see Sol not actually bother using teleport. He's not looking for the lane abuse case that we see from other Unsealed Spellbook carries. He just wants to have shorter cooldown on his heal and flash as far as we can see. Gonna waddle back to lane. The freeze was on from ROX, so maybe it was a situational choice because ROX didn't push it in, expecting Unsealed Spellbook to be a teleport back to the turret. Speaking of teleports.
Yep, there's going to be TP up to the top side here from Lava as they try to get the gank in on Roach. He's ready to transform, so going to be taking quite a bit of damage. Hops back in, and yet again will be taken down. Lindarang right at the last second as the Sanguine pool goes untargetable and will stay alive, and that is going to be 0-2 for Roach on that Gnar. And Lindarang, in this poorer matchup with the Vladimir, now going to be in a rougher spot. Raze coming around the wall, looking for a steal over onto this red buff. It's going to be Smite versus Ren, but actually the Smite's not there yet. So it should just be the takeaway by the Kalista. He's going to get tongue lashed. That's going to be Shockwave, pulls him back in, and Raze will go ahead and find the kill. First one on the board for KONGDOO, 2-1, as they find themselves behind by about 1,000 gold.
Max range Shockwave there catches Sangyoon unawares, and they pick up the kill. Unlucky from the side of ROX Tigers, but reward for hard work from the side of KONGDOO Monster. All our analysis about the Gnar versus Vladimir matchup goes out the wall, where 2 times in a row, basically every time Ignite comes off cooldown, they turret dive the Gnar. He dies during the duration of the Ignite, doesn't even get to transform. Really nice stuff, isolating and playing around the Hemo Plague and Ignite cooldowns by the duo of Lindarang and Seonghwan. And last time they were able to do this was against SKT, and that was a game victory and a match victory. Not necessarily, but a game victory certainly for ROX.
Well, solid start here. They can continue to abuse Roach every single time he gets up to that top side. Then just give him that Dyrus treatment, Cooney treatment, whatever you want to call it. Just keep him shut down. Make sure he can't get his tanky items until much later in the game. Then that is going to help accelerate the early to mid here for ROX Tigers. There's less of that frontline threat. For now, though, good answer, good invade from several members of KONGDOO to get that kill onto the board. Goes to the J4, still trying to complete that Tracker's Knife for the moment.
Not a lot of effective stats at all in the inventory right now. Like you say, just the jungle item, not even a Balmy Cinder or some long swords, depending on which flavor of Jarvan he's going for. Judging by the comp, having Gnar, Orianna, and Kog'Maw, probably just going to be the Cinder Hulk, but everyone goes differently. I feel like Warrior is best when you're doing well early, but sometimes we see Warrior from behind. You're never 100% sure.
Things just going to go ahead and slow down for the moment.
Super early GP10 finished for the Vladimir. Got his free boots as well early. 9 minutes for that. And if he can keep his item timings up, if he's 1 item ahead of Roach, who usually goes even or better as a Gnar into Vladimir, Spectre's Cowl into Black Cleaver and has kill threat in a long lane against Vladimir. And why not just keep turret diving?
Well, that's going to be an answering TP coming through here from Edge. Wants to try to turn things around. Will cancel it in the end. Seonghwan and Lindarang, they're just going to go straight back in. Roach, however, will get the transformation. He gets the double hop with the help of his minion. And it seems like he will make it out with his life this time around. It's a little bit of turret damage going through. But otherwise, going to be very safe and even has the flash.
Yeah, lose-lose there for Edge, who really did not want to complete the teleport. But like we saw, teleport cancelled. happy to chase the Gnar away from the turret. They're going to continue to. You can see on the mini-map,
yeah,
they're going to first brick.
Well, that's going to be them. They go ahead, they push down here. For the first brick, as you do say, and seems like they're going to be able to knock this down. Key just trying to poke out where he can, but it's way too dangerous to walk up, so they will get that burst of gold just before Seonghwan and Lindarang can actually finish off this turret. So good course correction there from KONGDOO Monster to acknowledge that, you know, we had to burn the TP, but at least we can get this bonus gold down to the bottom lane.
It was a nice roam from Edge because he realized the situation, saw that his teleport wasn't going to relieve pressure, and then was in position to really help a team-wide movement that allowed KONGDOO Monster against the run of play to trade up. So nice multi-level decision made in that scenario by KONGDOO Monster. They want to try and find more though. Raze spent this entire game just kind of EQing through mid lane, some mixed results.
That time he went through the brush and it seems like he spotted the control ward. Rift Herald going to be leashed all the way back into the blue side jungle. Seems like it's just going to go ahead and retreat. No start up there from KONGDOO Monster. Just happy to stop Seonghwan from taking it.
So we back away, we take a deep breath, and we take stock of what has been a vibrant first 11 minutes. A lot of items on the Vladimir. Is scary times for Roach. Kind of has a haunting guys ahead of where you'd expect a Vladimir to be around the 9 to 10 minute mark of the game. He's just going to be leashing onto the Rift Herald. Could be a return to this and try to pick it up. They do have a lot of Rift Herald damage in Kalista and the Kha'Zix, but
nobody else nearby.
ROX Tigers will want to try to monopolize objectives this game. There is a lot of worrying scaling concerns when you look at the side of KONGDOO Monster in true 5v5 team fights. So I think for the side of ROX Tigers, be proactive around your Kalista and also specifically around what is a Fed Kha'Zix. 1-0-1 at this point in the game is a good scoreline for the car.
Not too shabby. And still holding on to that stopwatch here for the minute. Almost said pocket watch again. I used to have a pocket watch. I think it's the last watch I probably owned.
Yeah, I always thought they were really cool, but actually finding use case for them, because they kind of occupy a pocket space, ended up being occupied by a mobile phone. Because I was in the era when I was very young where we didn't have mobile phones.
So the reason I actually had one is because I wasn't. It was during my first job. I actually wasn't allowed to check my phone on the floor. I worked in a retail store, so I decided to get a pocket watch because I don't like the feeling of an actual watch around my wrist because I don't know, it's just a weird thing for me.
That is a very edge case reason to pick up a pocket watch, but it worked out, I guess. So, would you say anything about it? And I feel the same way about KONGDOO's comp in Game 2, but they were able to pilot it to victory. Maybe I have to reevaluate some of my thoughts about just the ability to stall and scale, as proven by Azir basically in every case this week and last. One in vision, but continuing to farm up a treat. Game not extending, not increasing in pace is advantage KONGDOO Monster. But none of those neutrals we talked about going down either Achilles works out for them pretty well.
Rift Herald and the Cloud Drake still just going to be sitting there, and we're just 13 minutes into this game, so still could be quite some time before we see either of them prioritized. Farm Fest continuing. Lava slipping pretty far behind there. 16 CS down underneath the Orianna. So Edge going to be in a pretty nice spot, especially with that extra little assist that he's got. So a nice little lead for him.
We take a deep breath, we reassess. We know that this one could go late. We already had 40+ minute game in this particular series. This could be another one. You guys are tuning in early for the second series of the night. Really no guarantees which way this one will go.
I couldn't really tell you, but for now, Cataclysm immediately coming out there from Raze, just really wanted to force Key back. Did just that, got the flash away from him. KONGDOO, I mean, they have the surround there on the Rift Herald, but seems like they will not be starting it up, at least for the moment.
Can say, though, that ROX, having repeatedly ganked the Gnar, do have a level and item advantage in the Vlad vs Gnar matchup. They could just be playing topside, but they just want to increase the pain onto Roach. He is exhausted now. It's a good gank time.
Yep, that's going to be a TP as well to try to just seal the deal into this one. Only gets the one short hop. Flash forward for the extra damage there from Lindarang. Goes into the Sangyoon pool. They will take him down. Now Key going golden, has slicing Maelstrom there to try to lock up Edge. Gets the stun, but nobody else can really collapse in on top of the Orianna, and he's going to find the solo kill in onto the Kennen. So a bit too aggressive there from Key. He goes down, and maybe now KONGDOO Monster, able to pick up that Cloud Drake perhaps.
I do really like the way Edge has moved around the map. Teleport on Orianna has almost never been a staple of the meta because it's so hard to set up. You need to then teleport and usually have to have the ball in position, a ball carrier, to make something happen, but was early enough that he was able to clean up Key, who was just relentlessly aggressive and didn't have the Fate's Call to pull him out. Ends up being a 1-for-1 in what looked like it was going to be just a heads-up victory for the ROX Tigers. They're going to keep with the lane assignment they had before. To me, that suits ROX because they're having a strong Vlad against a weak Gnar. They can also play topside and not have to worry about the Vlad losing out. So to me, they need to actually find objectives in the top side where the 4 members currently lie.
Okay, straight back out there. He's been playing quite far forward by himself. Cost him his flash, cost him his life. So gonna have to try to calm himself down. Play closer to home here alongside his Kalista, so at least that Fate's Call would be available to bail him out of an unfortunate situation. Bot lane members just going to be meeting here in mid to top to bottom. So we just do a nice old shuffle around the map.
The monster start walking up to recontest the vision. So ROX, even with that big lead in the 1v1, haven't been able to push their advantage at all. It starts to get a bit concerning, and Seonghwan, he only knows one place to be. His only home is next to his good friend Lindarang in the bot side.
Well, he's been spotted, I do believe, right before he went invisible. So he's just going to clear out that ward and likely have to realize that Roach will be safe this time around. So we see him start to kite back Raze in the meantime, just prioritizing vision, getting Skull Crab there into the river. And you can see straight up the river, past the mid lane, towards the north side. It's been pretty clear vision lines from KONGDOO.
TP coming in.
Gonna be trying this one yet again. Roach looking for the transformation, gonna get left on. Double hops away from the turret, tries to kite back, gets the boomerang, gets the Gnar ultimate to try to push them back, but 3 members to 1 yet again. There's just nothing that he can do. He will go down as this time Lava finds the kill. But across the map, it's KONGDOO Monster who are pushing the advantage, going aggressive, looking for the turrets. Fate's Call thrown out. Key gonna go in with the slicing maelstrom, gets the lockup here. In onto Raze, multiple Ren stacks going through. They pull him out. It's not enough to kill him yet. He gets the flag and drag. One more hit might just do it. But he is gonna make it out with his life at the end. Secret just there to body block. Just Roach, and a heck of a lot of damage here for KONGDOO Monster onto the turrets, and ROX, they come up short.
Yeah, Raze saved by the heal right at the last there, doesn't go down to puncture a second kill for the ROX Tigers. A lot of damage done to the top lane outer turret, but Orianna not able to power that down. Like you say, at the start there, it looked like it'll be 2 turrets to punish, but early enough in the game that the damage isn't there to actually complete those turret takes. And Roach is just doing what he can. He just rushes back to lane. He's comically far behind against a GP10 laner in 2200. He will never be able to dictate to the Vladimir, but this is the right lane assignment here for KONGDOO Monster, and ROX Tigers so far only getting kills to punish them.
Yeah, and that's it. And it just seems like for ROX, this is pretty much just the run of play that they come up with. It's the same thing over and over again. It's like, okay, let's go kill the Gnar and try to deny him. They're doing a decent job, but even then, it's only 25 CS behind, despite the fact that he's been killed 4 times by multiple members of the ROX Tigers. And during this moment, this allows for KONGDOO to just go ahead and press their advantages elsewhere along the map.
And that's kind of why we sit back and you know, show surprise. It happens so often, is that the way you win in League of Legends is someone gets ahead, and then you spread that person's lead into other lanes, into a team fight, into a Baron take, into a Drake take. Objectives big and small. When you have a gold mismatch, when Vladimir shows up, no one can hold a candle to his 7,500 gold worth of item build that he already has super early in the game. But if it's just puncturing on the Gnar and not taking any objectives, that lead is kind of in a vacuum, when realistically, it should be spread around the map.
Maybe looking for the gank here, up into the top side. Shockwave comes through. Edge gets quite a bit of damage down, but it's just not going to be enough. Lava there with the shields, hoping to keep himself alive as Seonghwan finds himself another kill. 2-0 and 3 on the Kha'Zix. 100% kill participation and deathless, so just about as good as you could get.
And that's what we wanted, right? We said play with the 4 on the top side. Let the Vladimir do his thing alone. Great stuff there. Seonghwan, like I say, 100% kill participation. Been one of our most impressive Kha'Zix players so far in LCK Spring 2018. Didn't expect that.
Oh, here we go. Bit of an exchange here as Roach getting bursted down. He's exhausted. Lindarang doesn't even need to help the TP. Just cancel that one out, Key. Don't help Seonghwan finish off that. Oh, he's not even going to get the chance. Never mind. Baron's just going to show up.
That feels bad.
Should have been helping your jungler, Key. Instead of trying to steal a kill in bot lane.
Should have been jungling on the top side earlier than 19 minutes 30.
That too.
Once again, lethal temper on the Kalista, so Sangyoon clearly a fan of this rune choice. Against Kog'Maw lanes, Kog'Maw Tahm Kench, you're not expecting too much threat in lane, so help the flexibility to stick with precision but not actually go for the fleet footwork. And Lindarang, this is what he should be doing in the 1v1. He should be taking turrets or crash it this wave or next and looking massively powerful as the Vladimir.
Yeah, he is getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. Manages to knock down the second turret here for ROX Tigers. As the outer and bot falls. Mid lane also pretty weakened. As is top here in favor of KONGDOO Monster. So Edge this time not going to get jumped on by Lava and Seonghwan. Does manage to knock down that turret, bringing back a little bit of that gold, keeping us right around 1,500 in the lead for ROX. Given that it was about 12 to 13K in the last game that we saw KONGDOO stretch bring themselves back from, ROX probably have a bit of a nervous sweat going on at the moment in the booth.
I don't think they should, based on the exact item timings now, but as the future goes, they're not future-proof to actually win the game with the lead they have. Right now, 2-item Kalista, very, very powerful. The Vladimir is insanely fed for 20 minutes into the game. Realistically, a team fight should be Vladimir flank, 3+ man Emo Plague into a Ren set, and it should happen. It's pretty reliable. The only person who can really alter that story is Edge. If he can really have a big shockwave play with Raze, if the Gnar ultimate is there, if the layering happens and they can take down one of the threats, it probably has to be Seonghwan or Sangyoon, because Lava and Lindarang are so slippery with their shields and untargetability, then things can go better, but it's so difficult to pull off that it feels like ROX Tigers are already taking to the next level. But KONGDOO Monster showed in Game 2, you never have to fully opt into those fights if you can play defensively.
And also, not to bet against them necessarily. See if they can crawl their way back into this one. For now, though, Edge damage is going to be a bit delayed. Has Morello Namicon, as the words are difficult all of a sudden. As the face call comes in, massive slicing Maelstrom gets a lockup in onto Raze, and he is going to get popped. Lindarang finding the kills. You see the massive Vladimir coming up, trumps, finishes him off, and now ROX going to be turning their sights over to Baron.
Turn could be an important word because you think that a lot was used there, but notice no flash, no Hemoplague used by Lindarang. They still have a very strong turn.
It's 2 ultimates. It's basically Fate's Call and the Slicing Maelstrom.
They have to heal Seonghwan, though, who's tanking the Baron and cannot tank with any reliability.
Yeah, just really relying on the shields there from Lava to try to keep him safe, but Lindarang, he's playing the flank, but the rest of ROX are getting chunked out, especially with the artillery from SSol. That is going to push them away.
They got no frontliner. They got no tank support. There's no Tahm Kench to ignore Baron damage. They're actually going to lose an objective after getting a kill because the play that you saw is textbook patch 8.1, but not textbook Karma Vladimir Kha'Zix. This lineup doesn't do the Baron turn as you saw there. The shields weren't perfect. Seonghwan was the lowest HP and tanking the Baron because he's the only melee champion. They butchered that one pretty bad, ROX Tigers, but
it's things like that that gives KONGDOO the opportunity to get back into this game. So ROX, while they have this lead, they need to tighten up their play or else they are just going to throw away their chance at a victory.
Definitely. I can't disagree with that analysis, Kilios. It is different because they don't have anyone of any tanky repute. Health stacking, perhaps, on the Vladimir and a bit of armor, but no other tankiness and none to be expected at any point in the game. This was the build last time we saw Kennen support was the Righteous Glory for a pseudo-ghost effect, and he can go Ghost and Righteous Glory, such as the flexibility of Unsealed Spellbook.
Gotta go fast.
He saw Ming playing Alistar Ghost Flash, and he thought, hey, Kennen would be pretty good there, and I think one of the reasons you do see it, I think this is a call by Sangyoon, because actually Sangyoon and Snowflower were one of the famous Kalista Kennen lanes way back when. No longer is there Snowflower, but Key can do his best Snowflower impression with the Kennen support. I was always a fan. The first one we saw in Korea was Gorilla. Put up excellent flanks on the Kennen support.
I mean, famously, ROX Tigers, basically the team that could play Kennen in any role.
Except Kuro would never play at mid lane, sadly.
Yeah, no. There were several things that Kuro wouldn't really touch back then, but now he's doing a pretty good job expanding the champion pool. Maybe aside from the Azir, because it started off really good, and then he played it again, and then it was pretty bad.
Yeah, the Azir earlier this week was not a highlight play. That was a bit of a low light play by him, but he'll want to say that he's 1-1, and that's better than his career 30% win, right?
That's good. Cook the books on that one.
ROX just trying without a minion wave to take down this outer mid lane turret that for them will be frustrating. The fact that it's still up, down in turrets compared to KONGDOO Monster, not something they necessarily would have expected, especially with Lindarang, a source of ultimate power wherever he shows up.
Turret's low, but so wave clear here for KONGDOO Monster, not much of a concern.
See Kennen on the flank. You know the plan from ROX Tigers is to turret dive. That's the way they were set up. They've realized the Baron bait's not for them. They're going to lead a different life and avoid that for now. When it comes to a Baron start, back away from the mid lane. KONGDOO keeps adding time, and you wonder if we're going to see a replay. What happened in the previous game is this matchup's getting better for Roach.
And Lindarang still, though, getting quite a bit of HP back, especially as that Hemo play gets completed. But you can see Roach is bringing it very close and down to the wire. Doesn't have to peel back in the end, but at least is holding his own in the lane, stopping Lindarang from forcing the wave up towards that inner turret. Cloud Drake's still just chilling out.
Hasn't been taken all game.
Quite unloved.
I don't know if we've ever seen a game where no Drake was taken pre 30 minutes, but that could be this game.
I feel like we.
I remember one around 31 minute, but like we're getting to kind of uncharted territory with the low Drake takes.
Back during when the Drakes were first added into the game and people weren't really sure the best way to play around them, I feel like we might have seen that a couple times, but it certainly is a rarity in this day and age to go almost 30 minutes without a single dragon being taken. Usually it's 19-minute mark, maybe 22 that we've seen where people are just like, okay, that thing's there. We have control over this side of the map. Let's just kill it. But no one has cared at all.
Time and I cast the famous Oscar night game in China where the result of the match didn't matter, so everyone was playing silly champions, and there were no Drakes in that game. But definitely not something that happens too often in competitive play. KONGDOO continue delaying. They're happy to have Edge in the top lane, just farming. Apparently teleport Orianna's happy to side lane, which should never happen. Orianna, very easy to flank, doesn't have a turret in the top side, and isn't a good teleport user, so that's something that KONGDOO Monster is getting away with. The early game, wayward. KONGDOO Monster getting away with. The top lane on fire for the first, 15 minutes of the game. Relentlessly turret dived. And yet we just saw that Roach can run at Vladimir and go pretty even. So the worst of this game is behind KONGDOO Monster. Earlier than the worst of the game was behind KONGDOO Monster in the previous game. And ROX have worked out that they can't start Baron and peel because their comp doesn't do that. They need to start diving.
Well, they're going to be looking to do just that. The Baron comes through there from the Tahm Kench Secret, trying to keep Soul alive. He'll get rooted, he spits him out. Pops the shield to keep himself alive, and here comes Roach, gets the stun into the wall, and that's just going to be the instant pop there onto Sangyoon, now chasing forward. Looking for Lindarang, gets the stun in the meantime. Secret is able to finish off Lava, and just like that, KONGDOO Monster are looking to take the lead in the game. Lindarang still alive, gets popped up in the flag and drag. He'll get taken down by Edge. 3 members dead. KONGDOO Monster might just go straight for the Baron.
The last idea was to dive. The dive fails, and maybe this team comp has run out of things it does well too early, Achilles. KONGDOO Monster with the 5v5 comp might have outscaled even earlier. They're turning onto the Baron. Sangyoon still needs to be dealt with. The Baron down to 5,000.
Soul still can do quite a bit of damage to this one. Sangyoon is getting gated out by Roach, who TP'd back in just to ensure there's no chance of a steal. KONGDOO Monster, 29 minutes into the game, pick up the Baron. We'll get another look at this very botched dive.
And I think we did a good job explaining why the dive needed to happen, but the execution, like you say, is against a team with summoners up, a team that's happy to turn it around. Kennen's not tanky, he's dead from the start of this. They're able to go front to back and front to back Kog'Maw comps, victories every day of the week. Too easy for the side of KONGDOO Monster. They should have been separated, they should have been flanked. They weren't. Baron is the result. Now we're a couple of team fights away from KONGDOO registering an unlikely victory.
Well, this is going to be the Fate's call. Thrown out Key. Popping the Slicing Maelstrom yet again. The Devourer thrown in by Secret. Trying to keep the Kog'Maw alive and in the fight, but this time it might not happen. Maybe ROX can bounce straight back into this game. Raze goes forward. He'll get taken down. The shielding barely keeps him alive, but it's going to be Lava coming up with a double kill as SSol and Raze both go down. But now ROX maybe continuing on the offensive here. They've gotten 2 of those buffs taken away. And for now, seems like they're going to say, screw it, I guess we got to take the Cloud Drake 30 minutes in.
30-minute Cloud Drake feels bad, but that was a big win for ROX Tigers. They were playing against Baron buff, saw KONGDOO Monster still playing 3 lanes and said, wait, what's stopping us from just rushing at the Kog'Maw and taking him down? No flash available on the Kog'Maw, only a Devour. Good teamfight victory by ROX Tigers, abusing the fact that KONGDOO Monster were not in position. They'll start pushing up minions, but they won't really get anything else. Still not good enough for ROX Tigers.
Yeah, just the Cloud Drake off the back of that. Lindarang straight back into trying to push in Roach. But we've already seen he can hold his own. Now he's got a bit more damage, plus the safety net of the Guardian Angel available. And in all likelihood, that kill, getting rid of those buffs, that might have just slowed down KONGDOO enough to where they can't really utilize the rest of this Baron.
Ultra safety from SSol as well. He's changed from heal to the barrier, so the most selfish of damage prevention you can get from summoner spells. He's also gone, not for the Hurricane, he's accepted the fact that he will not be able to hit multiple members. Hurricane in general at the competitive level is thought of as something against tanks, where you're going to be dealing with tanky members rather than necessary threats. And instead he just goes for the rapid fire cannon, just for extra range, for a bit of poke, understands that he's probably going to be taking down threats one by one. I actually like the choice here. It's much more conservative.
Roach, you can see here, chunking out the Vladimir, knocking him down very low. Transfusion brings back quite a bit of HP, but still, Roach is very much winning out on the exchange. In the meantime, Key goes in, pop that Slicing Maelstrom, but now he's going to get slowed up. Has to be forced in with the Fate's Call. So drag him out to safety. As Roach gets that transformation, but has no way of closing the gaps to get the stuns. It seems like the members of ROX are going to be safe for the moment. But that's flash, TP, and ulti down away from this cannon.
The formation from KONGDOO much better. They weren't spread across 3 lanes this time, but can say that ROX Tigers' first engagement has basically wasted this Baron. We're down to 20 seconds of Baron duration, and they've gotten nothing. Baron power play has certainly not happened here.
They got the gold.
Yep.
That's about it.
Power play is usually on the stats, and the stats have led to nothing here for KONGDOO Monster. ROX looking for the double flank. Kha'Zix top side, Vladimir bot side. I think Vlad needs to switch over to Ghost soon if they're going to continue to group up here, KONGDOO Monster. The teleport is usually a staple, but needs to find a way to actually get into the sides of KONGDOO Monster. One of the only places they may be brittle is if you can find an appropriate flank, because front on, then it's a pretty easy job for Tahm Kench to ruin the day of ROX Tigers. Very burst build coming through from Lava. This is a Crown special. Crown would situationally go for a nuking build with nothing like the Athene's Unholy Grail or Ardent Censer. I wonder if Ardent Censer would have been the right choice in this game. We saw yesterday Ardent Censer coming through from Mata when they were playing a Protect the Caitlyn comp, and Sangyoon was ahead, and he has lethal tempo, so the extra attack speed that's now prioritized on the Ardent Censer would have probably been put to good use, but went more for the DPS build that scales better into the late game. But if your whole team as a whole doesn't scale into the late game, it's always kind of weird to think which master you should respect the most. No good decisions there for Lava.
Well, where it looked like maybe the game's pace was going to get picked up after the back and forth that we had, the Baron into the losing fight for KONGDOO. Seems like things will be slowing down considerably. Seems like we will be having a very long game here, Papa Smithy, as we hit that 34-minute mark. In all likelihood, probably not going to be decided until we see another Baron or Elder Dragon, or perhaps both.
You just think if there was a way to recreate what ROX Tigers was doing earlier, with Lindarang tanking the Baron and Key looking for the flanking ult, maybe things would have been different. Because Vladimir at least could sustain himself up. He's still comically ahead in gold, you know, over 3,000. This point would have been a similar number earlier, but no longer can he 1v1 Roach with any real convincingness. We've seen that Roach, despite being so far behind, is competitive enough, and he's not been Flame Horizoned anywhere near. He's only 70 CS away from being Flame Horizoned, 30 CS up. That's not a big number by any means. 26 now for the Vladimir, so the Gnar is in better stead than expected. Yeah. KONGDOO Monster as a 5-man lineup after the 0-4-0 Gnar is in a better state than expected. Now it's all back to the drawing board for ROX Tigers. And Kog'Maw's a real tank, by the way.
Yeah, you know.
He doesn't care about Vladimir anymore.
No, he does not. Just go ahead and upgrade that next drinker into a Maul. This is why the heck not. Still does have the Targans at the moment. Just going to be waiting until he can get a full build, completed 6th item before we see that one replaced. As the red buff moved over to Soul.
Roach denies us the Hurricane. The confirmation on Twitter that if you go for Hurricane Gnar, it does build up the rage bar faster.
Okay.
Means that if you're out of position and have to mini Gnar in a fight, then you can at least hit Mega Gnar faster. If you have targets to attack, which invariably you do in a team fight as Gnar. Lindarang runs it down bot lane. 6 items, a death cap as well. Fearsome Vladimir, 593 ability power, but he won't be popping the Kog'Maw. At maximum stacks of Wit's End is at 172 magic resist, which affects the shield he has. And ROX Tigers say, well, we're not sure where the vision's at, but we're going to start the Baron.
Well, there's a little bit of it right there in the back of the pit. You can see Seonghwan already yet again getting chunked out by the Baron as KONGDOO Monster pushes around the side, and that's just going to push them back.
Is the flank attempt.
Does complete the TP, but Roach is there to go ahead and block him off. Has the Mega Gnar transformation ready to go just about. Get that on command in a matter of seconds.
Leads to someone backing away. Lindarang doesn't have a long teleport cooldown, but feels long at this point, even with the unsealed spellbook. ROX Tigers look out of ideas. That's the way I see right now. They don't have easy initiation. They do have the Kennen being thrown in by the Kalista, but kind of obvious. They don't have control wards down, and now KONGDOO Monster say, well, I don't know about you guys. We'd love Baron too.
Yep, they're going to go ahead and burst this one down already. About half HP, starting to peel off now, looking for a pick here onto Seonghwan. Can't quite chase him. In the meantime, Roach will be transforming, so the exhaustion's going to come through, and
ROX can move the minion wave through now, so they're escorting the minion wave after KONGDOO Monster was out of position. First time they've been in good position is mid lane.
Yeah, that's going to be Cataclysm coming in, gets Sun into the wall, but no, the Fate's Call actually just drags them right out. Sangyoon going to be throwing Key straight back in, who still has that Slicing Maelstrom ready to go. No play thrown down by Lindarang, keeping himself alive here with a Sanguine pull. A secret goes low, pops the Grey Health Shield to keep himself alive, even through all their end stacks. Still is alive and healthy on the backside of the fight, just ready to devour anybody that he can to keep them here for the side of KONGDOO. No one is going to go down. Multiple summoner spells popped on both sides, but no kills. Everyone's pretty much going to have to go back, you would say, but things are still coming out. Sangyoon, does he want to start this up? The answer's going to be yes.
And no one dying there, so they just turn onto Baron. They have a lot of Baron damage and secure. Raze is here, low in health, but still around, and they back away, and it's kind of been a tease kind of game, Achilles. Lots of people getting close to death, close to objectives that could turn the game, but apart from the feeding Gnar in the early game, we have a surprising amount of parity. It's only 1,300 gold lead for ROX Tigers at 38 minutes. We're basically equal.
Oh, this back and forth dance. Not sure that I like it.
We did find a Ardent Sensor, but it is going to be 4th item on the Karma, so just wants to load up and allow that attack speed cap to be heavily broken by Sangyoon. Only has 1 Zeal item himself, so going to require on the lethal tempo and also the Ardent Sensor.
A little bit there will help out. Slow goes through onto Seonghwan as they jump forward, trying to get the slow up. Ring does connect into him, but no further options to pursue.
Neither team is playing the side lanes particularly well this game, so we're rushing through mid lane. Not going to necessarily make the game any faster. Whose turn is it to start Baron, Achilles? Going to find out soon.
Just waiting. Spooky Ghost going through.
Doesn't see anyone.
Doesn't see. Oh, no, it's all Roach. Damn it, Roach. Needs to study Bengi. Figure out how to dodge those.
Not going to play 10-man deathmatch mid lane. Vladimir finally has gone to the side lane.
No, never mind. ROX doesn't want to participate. Not what they signed up for, apparently.
I do like that someone is tending to a side wave. It's been a while. 2 control wards. They start the Baron again. There is no vision, and a lot of the spot vision is on cooldown as well. It's going to draw at minimum a teleport. We've seen this before.
Roach's job is just to go ahead and keep Seonghwan away from the pit. He's going lower. Raze going out. Jumps in, gets the kind of down in onto lava, but that's going to be the slicing maelstrom, and Raze goes insanely low. Sangyoon dashing forward, putting the spears into him, trying to get the pop there onto the J4. They go back over to the Baron, but he can't quite get it yet because the Devour comes through, and Roach is going to be the first one that finds the kill as Seonghwan goes down. Now looking for more. GA gets popped. He comes back up. Sol coming in. Jumps over with the Devour. And Secret tries to keep him alive, and Roach is just going man mode. Finds the stun into the wall from Sangyoon, but now might have overstepped. Has to try to kite back, but he gets slowed up, locked up, and his GA will get popped. Secret yet again. Just a Devour machine for Sol, trying to keep him alive and in the fight. Will do so as Roach finally does go down. Multiple GAs popped, but the Baron maybe ultimately going over to ROX Tigers as they started up yet again, and they have the Kalista spears for the confirm.
Yeah, 3v3, but like you say, no smites, only a single rend, but the rend is enough for KONGDOO Monster to disengage. They realize they have no realistic ability to secure. Let's see where the rend does secure it. Well, it's mostly at 1600 health, so about 1300 worth of rend. A Q from Vladimir, they pick it up. Another messy fight. It was 3v3 by the end of it, so 2 kills on both sides. Raze takes so much damage, and the Baron almost takes him down himself. Then you see Lindarang in the backline, and you shift, and you're like, okay, ROX Tigers have got this. The enemy jungler is DPS'd out. The other members DPS'd out. But the only kill that's secured early is onto Raze. Both junglers down, and no threat onto Sangyoon. Threats disengaged onto Sol as well. Comically long fight for what has ended up being an extended game 3. Very nice Devour from Secret to take away the tides of blood damage. You're right, he was on point in multiple cases in that fight. 2 for 2, but the Baron objective is the best news for ROX Tigers in the last 15 minutes.
Whew. Well, 11-7. Yeah, so we're going up to 42 minutes now in this game.
What's the last item here for Sol? He's waiting on it. Oh, he's just got to draw his fist. We're going Frozen Mallet. We've got Tank Kog'Maw enacted.
I like it.
I haven't seen that this season, but was an old special on the Kog'Maw. Could also be Sterix Gage, I guess.
You know, could be. That was the classic Kalista build from ages past.
Doesn't really have health from other sources, so with the latest Sterix Gage, doesn't work on ranged champions either. So
that's true.
Let's remove that. It's going to be Frozen Mallet.
You're right. That was a change that happened.
No longer the Wraith tank Kalista ruining our games. So Frozen Mallet eventually, but that means he's sold the Overshield for not a lot of stats. Bit of a weird sell there for Sol. Probably would have preferred the Overshield over just a bit of health, and he's getting chunked.
As he does get chunked out there. A bit of shielding coming through the Orianna, having to throw the ball on him just to try to keep him in the fight and deny some of that burn damage from this Elder Dragon. They managed to hold off here for the moment, but you can see ROX just turning their sights over onto that top lane, looking to get rid of that final Tier 2 turret. So they just have nothing remaining other than the inhibitors to be concerned about.
Bringing out this minion wave in topside. ROX have been better at playing their side lanes than KONGDOO Monster, so that is the final inner turret taken out. Looking to try to break the base here, but easier said than done unless Edge does use a shockwave prematurely.
So avoid that, needs to wait for the golden moment. So ready to go, Lindarang just jumping forward, immediately throws down that Hemo plate, catches 3 members, makes them low, but doesn't find any kills. But in the meantime, ROX have broken through the inhibitor line. They got rid of the turret. This should be a very easy take on the inhib itself. As Sol is trying to fire away, but just can't really get into position to chunk down the members of ROX.
I really like what Lindarang did there. He knew his role, flash ult, threatened an all-in, but was really only zoning with the Hemo Plague. Enough, a successful zone, you'd have to say. Base finally broken at 44 minutes into the game. 30 seconds left on the Baron buff. Item cap soon for basically every champion on the Rift. Can KONGDOO Monster find the way to actually have access to a frontliner for this very fed, and that's, well, very farmed, I should say, Kog'Maw actually take it down? They can play front to back very well. They can burst with Edge, but the squishier members of ROX Tigers have never been grouped, and the moment a Hemoplague and a Vladimir rushes at the backline of KONGDOO Monster, they move back, and inch by inch, they lose objectives.
Still, though, I learned my lesson from Game 2. It's not over until it's over. KONGDOO still very well could, with the massive potential of a shockwave, turn this one around.
Needs to be twice.
Again, I was just about to say that, yeah, probably have to be 2 different fights in order to make their way over to the Nexus, but they've done it once before. Perhaps they can do it again here in the same series.
Warmogs finished onto Secret. Don't often see that on supports, but it does mean that the Locket shield will be bigger, and they're going to need Locket and Redemption to deal with the Vladimir AoE in particular. Rushing up the bot side, no longer with Baron buff. Elder spawning, but it's kind of comical. It's really only about the base stats, given it's only one Cloud Drake buffing it up.
It's still going to be a ways away, as the buff just recently kind of expired there from the members of ROX. So still going to be several minutes out onto that and the Baron. So for now, it's going to be ROX sieging on their own without any buff assists.
That could mean more delay, Achilles. That could mean readjusting your position in your chair, whether you're at home or you're the two of us. And it's going to be a lot more inching forward. If you stand here and just taxi the minion wave and clear it, then you deny any chance for KONGDOO Monster to push up vision.
Well, 8 p.m. here in Korea. We still have our second series to go. KSV, former Samsung Galaxy, versus the Afrika Freaks. Another one that very, could go to Game 3 if Afrika finds any success there.
Actually draw away the Locket. That's a pretty big cooldown to be down. This is a great chance for ROX to consider diving, but for now they don't need to. Not huge damage because the minion wave's not there, but trying to take down these final 2 inhibitor turrets.
Wave coming back in here. Sol already chunked down to about half HP. Wave clear. Still quite strong for KONGDOO Monster, but deal with the super creeps up towards that top side. And Sangyoon, with his Guardian Angel, feels perfectly safe to just go ahead, push up, take a couple turret shots to get the damage in to knock this down.
Definitely a slow and steady wins the race approach, just on the cooldown of the Karma Shield. Redemption to top them up. Locket might be off cooldown pretty soon, but was used about 25 seconds ago by Secret.
Well, yet again, somebody's going to have to go clear the wave, as the super creeps are getting ready to start knocking down the Nexus turrets, and it seems like KONGDOO Monster might just have to let this bot inhib turret fall.
Used to be that letting 3 inhibitors go down, letting 2 inhibitors go down was the death knell, but we've seen enough evidence recently that we're never sure in recent days. 2 autos away from this turret going down, or 1 auto if the creep wave is here.
There you go, Sangyoon manages to get it. A little bit of damage in onto Raze. Roach
Gnar
threatening from the sidelines, says have the Mega Gnar ready to go. ROX are just going to peel back as a squad. Maybe just rotate back over to the mid lane and start it all up over again.
Slow and steady wins the race. Tortoise in the hair. Tortoise here is ROX. We didn't think they could be the Tortoise with how the draft went. They had some frustrations finding a way to actually get a lead in the game, but the 2 for 2 that led to Baron was the game breaker for ROX Tigers, and even though KONGDOO Monster has things...
They're going to be looking for Roach here. He already uses the Gnar ultimate just to try to push Key away. Still locks him up with a slicing Maelstrom, and Roach is going to be fine. It's a bit wanting there by the ROX Tigers, considering that he also had the GA, but I guess even popping that would have alleviated some pressure for them on this push.
Stoneplate GA, pretty hard to take out, but in the mid lane, lots of good news stories for Lindarang.
Yeah, Lindarang just going to go ahead and finish off that turret, so maybe 3 inhibs going down here for KONGDOO Monster as they try desperately to hold this off, but their hopes are dwindling as time goes on. 1 more hit to get it. Push back here for the moment, but it's pretty much just a matter of time because, again, KONGDOO, they're going to have to go deal with the super creeps up top.
I get worried, though, Achilles, because we've said the words matter of time many occasions.
It's a matter of time until somebody wins.
True.
That's all I'll commit to.
That matter could be 94 minutes, as we've learned very recently. The winner is not determined by the first team to take the first 3 inhibitors, because that, again, has been proven very recently.
KT would have lost many a time in the past if that's how that was determined.
I felt like the casting playbook for League of Legends was simpler back in the ye old days of 2017. 3 inhibitors down, you roughly win 99.9% of the time. But no longer is that same playbook enacted. We've had an insane amount of heroic defenses in Korea and around the world with where the meta is right now.
Well, Baron's back up. Elder Dragon joining us in about 1:45. Could be the thing that breaks the game for either side here.
Watch Edge to see if he gets a Gathering Storm proc at 50 minutes into the game. Seems unlikely, but we've seen more Gathering Storms this week after the average game length got longer. So 496 AP. I'm going to go with no.
I mean, even
Would have been higher at this point.
Even Tucson we saw take it on Janna.
Oh, he got 536. He actually does have Gathering Storm. There you go.
Wonderful. All right, well, Baron engaged here. Still quite healthy as only Sangyoon is hitting this. He's going to have a lot of spears in it, though. But Roach, in the meantime, he's just trying to gate Lindarang out of here. Forces the pop on the Ghost. Sangyoon goes back in onto the Baron, trying to stack up those spears. But again, has to show respect. And Roach has done a very good job of keeping Lindarang away, but now he's going to be exhausted.
Going to be spotted on a ward if he comes in. Okay, yep. Lindarang is spotted. Very advanced ward for given how defensive the position has been for KONGDOO previously, but they will clear it. Actually, no, they got 2 orders into it and then lost vision. They know it's there though, that's enough.
So the question now, Papa Smithy, as this keeps going, because we have another series after this, is will we be here until it's your birthday? Because tomorrow's your birthday.
That is true.
Under 4 hours until Papa Smithy turns 19.
3 hours, 52 minutes, the dream, until 26th of January hits. Australia Day is also my birthday. The fireworks I'd like to see is, I don't know.
The Nexus exploding for one of these teams?
Indeed, that would be lovely. But for now, we're never sure, Achilleos. There will be casts on my birthday by hook or by crook, but you're right, we could get bonus birthday casts, depending on how long the second series goes.
Well, for those of you who are just waking up or will be up quite late, go ahead, set an alarm, and remember to tweet at Papa Smithy and say happy birthday.
You know, I have a feeling Twitch chat will remind me that it's my birthday also.
Probably.
Odds on.
But you might not be looking at Twitch chat at that time. We might be out of here. It's possible. It's unlikely, but it's possible.
I'm looking at that clock and I'm thinking, maybe not, Achilleos. This new meta, this glorious 50-minute meta that we are living in. If we see a sick last fight, a huge outplay, something akin to Edge's amazing play in the previous game, you can be okay with that. You can feel good about some of the time, but if it's a bit more meek, then it's not as good. As KONGDOO Monster and ROX are threatening action, well, we see it.
Down about half HP, Raze goes in with a flag and drag. Shockwave comes through, really only finds Kennen. Doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but Lindarang's going to find the first kill of the fight as Edge goes down. Sol also going dangerously low, will get popped at the end. A double kill going over to Sangyoon, now looking for more, making a triple kill. Can it be the quadra? Just needs one more as Roach comes back up. There you have it, the quadra kill over to Sangyoon, the staple pick of the Kalista, and finally, after this massive war of attrition, this back and forth of KONGDOO barely being able to stave off the ROX Tigers, they will lose this series, a 2-1 going over to the ROX Tigers as they close it out right here at the end.
The players celebrating in the booth. The ROX Tigers do go 2 matches in a row with victories. They made it hard for themselves. They thought it would be a straightforward 2-0. In the end, delayed, but even after some mismanagement, even after some mistakes, they were more on the board with the macro. They were more on the board with the Vladimir, who was the difference in the final team fight. Tides of blood again and again, ripping through the health bars of KONGDOO Monster. And KONGDOO Monster will be frustrated. They are no longer on the losing streak. They were able to win game 2, but that required heroics from Edge, the man in the mid lane. Will lose their second series in a row, and even though it's been a better re-entrance to the LCK, it hasn't necessarily been a fruitful one for KONGDOO Monster.
Yeah, going to be falling down to a neutral 0 as far as their game score is concerned. 1 win, 2 losses now there for KONGDOO, and that will slide them a ways down the list, as they should be sitting just above Afrika Freaks and SK Telecom at the moment. We'll get a look at that final fight.
Everyone rushes at Edge, and you know, if Edge's in the backline, being a quarterback as the Orianna, healing, shielding, and doing damage with Sol, fights go the way of the late game Orianna. But one of the reasons Orianna hasn't been preferred is that People are tanky these days. You don't get the burst with the shockwave that you used to. Was able to be zerged down, largely by Lindarang. That's why we see some breaths of just, I would say, elation from the ROX Tigers. They're relieved they were able to get over the line. Plenty to VOD review for both teams. Messy best of 3 between ROX Tigers and KONGDOO Monster, but there has to always be one victor, and on this day, it's ROX.
Yeah, if Edge was the quarterback, then he absolutely got sacked there right at the end. Very hard fought loss there for KONGDOO Monster. They tried to hold out, but unfortunately unable to do so, especially after such a spectacular come from behind victory there in game number 2. But ROX Tigers can breathe easy for the moment. They'll advance very slightly up the ladder, as they should now have that +1 scoreline, or that +1 scoreline. +1 scoreline would be very bad.
I mean, just being at 2-1 is the more important thing early in the season. As the season goes on, the game score might separate 5th and 6th and certainly be important. But for now, moving to 2-1 this early is better than expected for the ROX Tigers. Not a lot of people, including myself, had high expectations for the team, and that may be proven incorrect or correct as the season goes. All we can say is, for now, we are on the back of a Game 3 victory for the ROX Tigers, as Lindarang, after some helping hand from his good friend Seonghwan in the jungle, ran away with the game.
Yeah, and you gotta say, really surprising to actually see the very small amount of damage by comparison coming out of Sol with that Kog'Maw, doing less than the Orianna on his squad, and very, very far behind the Gnar as well. Just never really could get into a position where he could fire off with the W and just melt people down, so it didn't have that much of an impact in the fight. He was pretty much relegated to just clearing out waves.
And that's why with certain comps, like Vladimir, Kennen, you think, okay, what does Kog'Maw do in the late game? But how does he do away from an open lane? Because this was in terrain around the enemy blue buff, where there was terrain that kind of corralled people left and right. 94% kill participation. A scorch for laning phase. He didn't want to take Gathering Storm against Gnar. That was smart on the side of Lindarang, but regardless, victory there in the MVP. 200 points, joins a cavalcade of people at 200 points, including Ambition, who we will see in our second series of the night. It was the early game where it felt like every time the Ignite was up for the first 2 uses, there was a kill that got the Vladimir going in what is an indifferent, and if anything, Gnar-focused matchup. Ignite back up, so was Hemoplague. Goodbye to Roach, and while Roach eventually got back to kind of normalcy in the lane, it took so long that they missed out on 30 minutes of Gnar actually having lane control over Vladimir.
I mean, I believe it took about 5 deaths, and then Roach was able to start swinging his way back into a favorable position, but even then, still had gotten himself picked on even when he was doing nicely in his trades versus Lindarang. But ultimately, at the end, it's going to be that rush down onto the Orianna to just eliminate her from the fight. Have that massive Hemoplague to amplify the damage of his teammates. That's what really gives Lindarang credit for this MVP win.
And I wonder if in the next patch, when we remove the quest from the GP10 item, when Frostfang and Frost Queen's Claim no longer has the quest, whether Vladimir will still be as possible, because then you will have to go into Ghost in these scenarios. You won't be able to trade upon the movement speed, the 1 second speed up on spellcast that you get from the quest line. The GP10 will mean you don't have the gold lead as early. It will feel like only Gangplank will be able to go full investment banker. But as it stands right now on 8.1, you get any sort of a start on Vladimir, the reliability of being a late game terror gets higher and higher. And whenever Vladimir is reliable, he's always going to be a staple of the meta.
Yep. And just right here. Shockwave self down onto Edge, only finds 1 because of the Sanguine pull, and then he just gets popped immediately thereafter.
Not a lot of video games to be played by either Sol or Edge in this particular fight. Dogpile worked.
He was skirting so low with his health bar this entire time. You can see just right there at the end, even with the boomerang nearly taking him down, but very nicely done by Lindarang. Does walk away with that MVP victory for himself, and we'll be joining Lava on stage for our MVP interview. So let's go ahead, throw over to Joel for the translation. So Joel, take it away.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your interview translation. So we're here with ROX Tigers picking up a 2-1 victory over KONGDOO Monster. And we're here with today's MVPs for the series, Lava and Lindarang.
네, 라바 선수와 린다랑 선수
And it really was a back and forth match for you guys. How does it feel to get the win? It was definitely a must-win series for us against KONGDOO Monster, and getting the MVP to boot. It feels great. Seems we haven't seen you that much in the MVP interviews so far. I think it's great that we came from a possible loss in the series after losing game 2, and getting MVP is great too. And of course, you know, ROX Tigers definitely has something to show recently with the quadra kill that you've gotten yourself, Lindarang, and also with so many things that have happened recently. I think today and most recently, everything has been alright. I think getting the pentakill was probably the happiest moment. Definitely increased the tension. Well, let's look at the pentakill and have yourself to reiterate that emotion of what you felt during that moment. Yeah, I just told everyone, let's dive to the fountain, take the laser. And it's definitely ready. And everybody was going back and forth whether to go in or not, but I'm glad that everybody was decisive at the very end. And of course, you not only the pentakill, you did pick out very important solo kills in your lane. I mean, does that count as a solo kill? I mean, the gameplay was kind of helping out a little bit, so I had to go up against that. So yeah, it was important that, you know, Lindarang did help out with that. And the biggest impression that we got was that the top 3 players with the jungler, top, and mid laner was much more powerful in the ROX Tigers than we used to seeing them. And what has caused a sudden change in you, Lindarang? I think even from our practices, we focus more on teamwork, and I think that was the key to opening a new evolution of our team, and I think we've done a little bit of that and show what we are able to do. And Lava, you haven't showed a big champion pool until recently, now showing Galileo and the Corki and a lot of these variety picks that we haven't seen from you before. Yeah, I didn't know actually how to use Galileo that much, or whether how much viable it was, but a lot of teams have been using it during scrims, and I took a moment to experiment on it, what it was all about, and had my chance to use it as well. Did you see Karma at the scrims as well? I mean, Karma was kind of a last resort thing. So many mid champions were banned at that moment, and just had to go with the Karma, what was available. And we did move over to game 3, but game 2 was a difficult one to take for you guys, because you guys pretty much had to win in the bag, but had to let it go all at the end. Yeah, no, it's all these different champions that have these dynamics with the gold variancies that sometimes you don't know how powerful they are in the late game, but we kind of underestimated them, and we just try to sneak under them, try to crouch under them, and hopefully just get a few hits to the next, and obviously that didn't work out too well. I think we kind of have to ask for like a Baron 2 stack or something, double Baron stack. Yeah, because right now the minions doesn't seem that much strong at the moment, even with the Baron buff on it. And a lot of people do say that the stopwatch does lead to a very strong early game into a very good late game as well. I mean, at level 6, and you do get your ultimate, and at the same time you do have the stopwatch with it, so it's not a very fair assessment to pick. If it was available from 10 minutes onward, for example, that would be a much fair comparison to put. And after the second game that you guys lost kind of in a bad way, the coach came in. He didn't seem too unhappy and he was seemingly cheering you guys on. Yeah, he told us just forget about it and just focus on getting the third game correct. And Lindarang, you did pick out the Vladimir in the top lane for game 3. And we thought the initiation that you put out for your team was quite incredible. And this was the ending team fight essentially. What was the most important communication within that as a Vladimir? I really do like making rotations with Vladimir and just coming at from angles where people don't expect. And for most of this game, the opponent did a good job of marking me, and I couldn't go around the phrases very well. But this time around, I had very little marking, and I was able to go around to a route that I was feeling comfortable with, and that ended the game essentially with that initiate. And of course, going to the third game, we want to talk about something that I was personally curious about. You saw the Jarvan flashy Q.
Thank you. Glad we finally got to
into
this.
a very confusing result of that play. Yeah, I think he just had a little bit less sight to work with. But I think it might have been, maybe he could have been scared of the fact that this guy's first place in solo queue at the moment and just did anything he could to knock him down. Maybe that was his psychology behind this thinking. And of course, the last question would be if you have anything to say to the fans out here today. I mean, we do say that, you know, the mid laner and the top laner aren't the strongest in our team at the moment, but we still thank you for keeping your support with us. And all the fans and even the coaching staff held on with us and kept their faith in us, and well, for the faith that you guys have in us, we're gonna just work that much harder to get even better. And that is the end of the interview with ROX Tigers, Lava and Lindarang. We're gonna get back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel, for the translation. As always, I'm glad we got to touch on that little flash play that happened with Lava in the mid lane. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see the video, but there you have it. If you guys are joining us for the second series of the night, well, you can see the result of the first series as ROX Tigers were able to take down KONGDOO Monster 2-1 after a very, very close and surprising finish to Game 2 where KONGDOO managed to bring it back.
Bit of a messy series, pretty meandering. Some very nice plays of Edge in Game 2 was the big highlight there on the Azir 5-man Emperor's Divide. What does it all mean? Well, for the standings this early, a lot. ROX Tigers now 2-1, positive game score. Any wins they get now will either mean an assault towards the top or something to stave them off the bottom, depending on how the rest of the season goes. Whereas KONGDOO Monster, promising start, and for them to be losing match score and a 0 overall game score is pretty good, honestly, all things considered. But guys, I'm sure you've come here for what is our main event. It's not the telecom war today, but it's a fun one. KSV, Samsung Galaxy, your world champions against the Afrika Freaks, who started the season super strong, then were obliterated by Kingzone. Is it just going to be another contender running over Afrika Freaks, or is it going to be Afrika getting back to their roots? Is it going to be us on the camera? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
And from there, I hope this is competitive. This could definitely be a quick KSV 2-0, or this could be Afrika Freaks showing that it wasn't a fluke against KT Rolls.
I mean, when it comes to the teams that have always been hovering around the top 5, Afrika Freaks, not to use the NA style of it, they're always a bit of a wild card. You never know what they're going to pull out, so maybe they can take a game or the series away from KSV. We're going to find out when we come back. About 20 or so minutes. Going to let the players get set up, so stay tuned. We'll see you guys then.
Coming up next, KSV, a freak of freaks, beginning of the end. 2018 League of Legends Champions Korea Spring Split.